Good evening to the Selectmen's meeting on June 8th, 2023 at 6 o'clock. May I have a roll call, please?
Joe Shane present.
Chaz Sexton Duranian present. And we may or may not be joined by the third Selectman, Teresa A. Morse. When she joins in, I'll have her introduce herself. I'll call the meeting to order at 6:02. And please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to thank our veterans, past and present, for what they've done for our country, and we can move right on to announcing the meeting is being recorded and uploaded to YouTube tonight. Unfortunately, we will not be able to go live on Channel 9, but we will be put on a future broadcast. We had a little electrical problems to a storm that had happened earlier on in the week, so we are still trying to work some of the details of that out, but bear with us here. 1.4 Chairman's additions and deletions. I do not have any. Do you have any?
No, I don't.
If it pleases the chair, if we could delete 4.9. Discuss and approve the Spalding lease.
Okay.
We're still discussing language on that. I will bring up the language changes during my portion, but I don't think the board would need to vote on it.
Okay. And that's it?
And yeah, I believe it's.
Okay. And I just want to be able to announce too, the reason why we did move our meeting from Tuesday to tonight is that there was a function at the fire station, which we will talk about later on in the meeting, but I felt that the Board of Selectmen should be able to be in attendance for the pinning ceremony that they did have over at the fire station. So that is why we moved the meeting from Tuesday until today. The memorial, right? We can talk about that. 1.5, review and approve the meeting minutes for, let's start off with, I'll entertain a motion to approve minutes for April 18th, 2023.
Make a motion, we approve minutes for 4/18/2023.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Okay, I had no changes on that. Do you have any other changes? Okay. All those in favor?
Joe Shane, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. I'll entertain a motion for May 2nd, 2023.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from 5/2/23.
Second that. And I did not have any discussion on that one.
Nor did I.
Okay. So all those in favor?
Joe Shane, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. Sabrina, thank you very much for getting those done for us. Okay. So we can, both our appointments are going to be at 6:30, so we can, let's see, we can go right into appointments, I would assume. We don't have an adjourn a meeting for any of these, right?
No.
Okay. So 3.1, Joe, I can read the motion. All you have to do is say so moved and we can move right forward if you're okay. Also with the firefighters, I'll say as outlined in the agenda so that we don't have to read all the names. Is that correct?
Perfect.
Okay. So 3.1 is I'll entertain a motion to appoint Lorraine Farmer as the per diem van driver for the Townsend Senior Center.
So we move.
Any discussion on that?
Nope.
Okay. And from me, all those in favor?
Joe Shane, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. 3.2, I'll entertain a motion to reappoint George Sullivan, Carol Hofstas, and Emmeline Hoff to the Open Space and Recreation Committee for a term to expire on June 30th, 2024.
So moved.
Any discussion on that?
No.
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. Let's see. Just want to keep up with everything here. 3.3 to reappoint Donna Lynn Pinkerton and Judith Podrier to the Council on Aging for a term to expire June 30th, 2026.
So we moved.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. Should say welcome Lorraine, George, Carol, and Emmeline. Thank you very much, Emmy. Thank you very much for your wanting to help us out with open space, and also to Donna and Judith for helping us out with the Council on Aging.
So George Sullivan was.
And George Sullivan, yes, thank you. 3.4, I entertain a motion to appoint Anthony Barry as associate member to the Zoning Board of Appeals with a term to expire June 30th, 2024.
So we moved.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on that?
No.
And that's an associate member, so they're a full board now, right? With an associate, or they still have one more?
I would have to check. I'm not sure. I know that this was, getting them closer though.
Yep, good. All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Welcome
And
aboard,
thank you, yeah, welcome aboard. 3.5, appoint Colin Rose to the Recycling Committee for a term to expire June 30th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion for that.
So we moved.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. Thank you, Colin. 3.6. When Chief Shepherd had come before the board and discussed an outline of how to reorganize the fire department, the Board of Selectmen was very much behind him when he had done that. And the following is the what he had discussed for his arrangement. Selectman Schenk and myself had gone down on Tuesday night, and they had a pinning ceremony after the firemen's memorial, which was held at the Spalding School. They had also, it was an honorable for Buster Borman, which was really nice. It was a very, very nice ceremony. Buster's wife was there and family was there. The whole family. It was also attended by the Pepperell Fire Chief and the Ashby Fire Chief was there.
And Ashby Selectman.
And Ashby Selectman was there as well. So it was quite a nice.
Several firefighters from both towns.
Yes.
So it was a great showing. There was, the real thing is the fallen firefighter memorial.
Yep.
That's done every year.
Yeah. And then they had, I had a grand tour of the fire station, which was nice. And I will say that they had quite the buffet afterwards. They can cook down there, I will say that. But it was very nice. And I want to thank the chief for his hospitality and all those on the fire department. It was really nice to meet all of you and shake your hand and thank you for everything that you do for the town. I think it's well worth the effort. Chief Shepherd has done a fabulous job down there, and I want to thank him very much for everything he's done. So I will entertain a motion in regards to the promotion of officers of the fire department to appoint Brett King to on-call deputy chief, to appoint Ronald Pertrusi to full-time captain, to appoint Derek Mascalanco to on-call captain, appoint Cameron Miluski to full-time lieutenant, appoint Greg Galeota to on-call lieutenant, David Stevens to on-call lieutenant, and Kevin Pina to on-call lieutenant.
So moved.
Any discussion?
No, I just add a little bit more to what you said, that
Sure.
the pinning and the ceremony was really nice to see as many young people out showing interest in the Townsend Fire Department. I think the fire department has come a long way in the past couple of years. It's great to see people interested, and the morale of that fire department has really changed tremendously.
Yes, I agree. I concur.
Thank you.
All righty. All those in favor?
So Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. Uh, 3.7, appoint members of the fire department for I'll entertain a motion to appoint members of the fire department for a one-year term to expire June 30th, 2024, as listed on the agenda.
So be moved.
Is there any discussion?
No.
I'll second that too, Sabrina. So this is the full-time and the on-call per diem personnel. If there is no more discussion, then all those in favor?
So Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Welcome aboard, everybody.
Is there that phone call? Is that Teresa?
I believe that phone call is Teresa. I apologize. She has been texting me to try to get on. She was having some technical difficulties, and I think she's still, the last she told me was she had audio but no video. But she hasn't answered my last couple of texts, so I don't know if her service is.
Well, she's here, and if you can hear me, Teresa, all you need to do is unmute. And there's a code for that, *6, or I forget what it is, but there is a way for you to unmute.
I don't think I've ever done Zoom on my phone, at least not successfully.
All right, so 3.7 is complete, so we've got that all set. But again, thank you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I should say, for the Townsend Fire Department. We can jump to 4.1, review and approve municipal funds transfers. Do you have those?
I think that, did you put the MRTs, Sabrina? They should be in your folder. There are. I think you should have four.
So I have Montechusett Joint Transportation Committee.
That is not it.
No, these are appointments, sorry.
Chaz, I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Are these appointments?
And I know you didn't hear me before, but I did vote in the affirmative for those last two items.
Okay, so that would be for the appointment of the full fire department. And
Correct.
Right, and then to the affirmative to the promotion of officers for the fire department.
Correct.
That as well as which is these are the full bill factors. Municipal funds transfers. This one is a request for transfer of appropriations. The last 2 months of fiscal year, or of course 15 days of the new fiscal year. So this is being transferred out of the rest of their expenses to, it's a 2 here. Okay. So, the remaining funds that are in the grant administrator for $5,000, we want to move that over to BOS other expenses.
Yes, so some of the funds, that there's one of the other transfers. Goes with the other funds.
With the balance remaining is 11,503. So how do we do this? We just vote the motion for it, and motion to approve the transfer. I would say to, you may not have to read out the numbers, but I would just say. Well, I'll entertain a motion, for funds to be transferred from account 0010112251114, grant administrator, to account 00101122578 BOS other expenses. Any discussion on that? Lisa? Those in favor? That's 16 yes. I just need to sign this. Sorry, where it's under the Board of Selectmen section. Yeah. I think going forward, you don't need to read out the account number. You need the account. Points. I say this. What's that? Yes, Chad seconded. I seconded that. The next transfer would be, I'll entertain a motion to transfer, police lieutenant wages of $10,000 transferred to police training expenses. Balance, in that. Motion's been made, and I'll second that. Any discussion? Discussion, Teresa? All those in favor? Has 16 green. The next transfer is a transfer. Entertain a motion to transfer funds from the tax collector communication account for $4,200 and the tax collector other services for $7,700 transferred to the treasurer collector wages. With the balances remaining. So, and I'll second that. Discussion. Here, this came up during the budgeting as well. The salary and wages. So the FY23 budget we knew was going to be short in those things, and we actually, so the increase in their lines looked like it was large. Last budget we just passed, but it was because there was an error. This is to justify. Yes. Another discussion? In favor? Yes. That's excellent.
Teresa? Yes.
The next transfer would be, I'll entertain a motion to transfer from the land use coordinator salary for $25,000 and transfer to the yes, so this was when we knew that we weren't going to read it down land use coordinators. Took that opportunity to allocate that money towards our assistant.
So this is to cover Katie's, Kazanjian's, salaries for the remainder of this fiscal year. We knew we had the money sitting.
So, motion's been made and I'll second it. Any discussion, further discussion? That's all right. And it was a planned offset.
Yes.
For the assistance.
Yeah, when we went through the process to put that plan together, we knew.
All those in favor? Yes. That's 16 ring units. Had the frame light up.
No.
Okay.
I don't know how that's gonna show up on the minutes.
I know, I don't know what that.
Little Jonathan.
Take the US 3 South Ramp.
Oh, that's a GIS talking. He's in the car.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yes. I'm not driving though, so, because I thought I'd be on video, so. Teresa Amos, yes.
Okay, thank you, Teresa.
So,
Thank you for letting us know you're not driving.
yes, that's important. Just for the board's, future plans. These are the accounts that we've identified right now that we know are gonna be in the negative and needed these fund transfers. We also know that the MIS account is severely in the negative, is gonna have a large fund transfer in to cover IT services. However, because of the lightning strike, the act of God that hit the town hall last Friday, we did have to order a new switch. So there's going to be some, unfortunately, some increased expenses that come in. So we will likely save that transfer to probably do at the beginning of July when we know exactly what the
Will we
amount's
be
gonna
able to
be.
make any kind of insurance claim for lightning strike? Pay for any of that?
That's actually a very good question. I'll check with our insurance, because even if it just pays for that switch, it would be
A nice
a
little,
nice thing.
Yes.
Okay, that's a very good idea. Thank you for mentioning. I'll look at it.
Insurance policies do cover lightning strikes.
act of God.
Well,
Um,
that'd be good to look into.
yes, it
Yes,
would
I'll-
be, and
I'll double check on that.
Yeah.
I'll give a report at the next,
if we can make sure we have all the equipment that was affected so that we have a total cost of what's going on.
we'll do.
So, 4.2 is approval of, reserve fund transfer.
Yeah, so this is, and I apologize, it says review and approval, the board of selectmen does not need to approve reserve fund transfers, just FinCom.
That's,
But I do want to bring up, so the board is aware that we're going to be seeking, reserve fund transfers for BOS, for BOS accounts for two reasons. Number one is to cover the, dam inspection.
we are responsible for it.
We are responsible for it, and we own a dam, so that's good for us. Which I don't think anybody knew in town until.
We need to put that on the asset sheet.
Yeah, or liability sheet.
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah.
Right?
So, the board already approved the entry into the contract, but I was not sure whether or not the company was gonna be able to do it and invoice us before the end of the fiscal year.
Okay.
They are, so I'm gonna request a reserve fund transfer in the next
Okay.
meeting for that.
Good.
The second is I'm gonna request a reserve fund transfer to cover some of the, these increased costs for the Patriot server.
Mhm.
So the $2,500, that we just got notified for additional software. And so I'm gonna look to see if we can put in a reserve fund transfer to cover that out of the reserve fund, as opposed to trying to drive the MIS to, bill it to greater.
So the Patriot, this is for my, for fellow members, the Patriot server is the server that drives the, assessor's office software package that takes care of the titles and deeds and that sort of stuff. We were due for, to upgrade that particular server, we upgraded the server, but now there's software that's involved in it and licensing and that sort of stuff. So we need to cover those funds. This is all part of the bigger picture for us to make sure that, our IT for the entire town hall is up to a point where we can continue on making it, make continual improvements. But what the town administrator and I are working on is coming up with a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, so that, you know, as equipment starts to become obsolete, we have a plan to not only get it replaced, but to actually have it funded so that we don't have to do these big transfers at the end of things. I think we're doing a good job keeping ahead of the.
Yeah, so this year we're hopefully, you know, so we'll make those requests for the FinCom, and I'll let the board know what happened after this next FinCom meeting.
Let's see, so it is almost 6:30. So I want to save 4.3.
We could do 4.4 very quickly,
Okay,
if that's okay.
yep,
with the
go ahead,
chair.
4.4.
So 4.4 is to discuss in our contract for natural gas. So as the chair knows, and as Teresa knows, and I don't know if Joe kept up with it, we last fall went out to bid. We amalgamated all of the town's energy bills together and went out to bid for purchasing our own energy instead of using Unitil's rate for electricity. And we got a rate that's, you know, it's more than 6 cents less than Unitil's current rate. So the big savings for the town and our electric costs over the winter, which is a big deal considering that the library and the senior center are both electric heat.
Yeah.
We've had a company approach us that does the same thing with natural gas. So what I'd like to do is provide them with our bills and let them do an initial investigation as to whether or not they believe they can save us money by going out to bid for natural gas for our bills as well. And I think it's a no-brainer. There's not any charge or we're not signing up for anything in stone, but it allows them to look at our bills and contact the utility companies.
Absolutely.
And see if there's a savings to be had there. And given the big energy savings we had with the electrical bills, I think it's a no-brainer. So I just wanted the permission of the board to go ahead and do that.
Yes.
Eric, can you hear me? Eric?
I can hear you, yes.
If you actually use very little electricity at all, you still are going to get from Unitil the charge for the use of their poles, correct? Which is also extremely high compared to Mass Electric, right? Whether you go to natural gas or not, correct?
Right. So for purposes of electricity, as you noted, there's two parts of the bill. There's the production part, which is where they're making the electricity, and then there's the transmission part where they're providing it to you over Unitil's lines. Yeah. So you'll get some portion of Unitil's transmission bill, yes, but that's also per kilowatt hour rate. So if you use less, your percentage, that will be a smaller bill than if you use more.
It does. Okay, that was kind of my question. So that rate is not a set rate for the members of town. That is a percentage of the electricity.
Correct.
But we're just talking about the gas portion.
Yeah, we're talking about something. Okay. So we already use natural gas in some of our buildings.
So if you use it less, if you lose that with natural gas, the rate that you have to pay for the use of their poles also should go down.
This is not, we're not contemplating switching. We're just contemplating, we already use natural gas in some of our buildings. And so we just want to go out to bid to see if we can get a lower rate for on the gas than what we're paying right now.
Yeah, this is just for us to investigate if we can lower our bills.
And this just, I think, to clarify.
Okay, and it's not looking about trying to get it into the buildings that we're using electricity.
Yeah, we're not trying to switch the buildings over from electricity to natural gas. No, that's not part of this.
But just town buildings only.
Okay.
This is town buildings only, so it's only the town
Yeah,
accounts.
no, I knew that. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Right, so I don't have any issues with that. Do you have any issues with that, Teresa?
No, I don't. I just needed some background so I understood
Okay, so you have our.
the potential savings.
I will reach out and provide them with our bills to see what we can do. Thank you.
Do we have, Tavern 13 online here?
For someone here from Evans?
So I do not see anybody there, so.
Did they ever get back to us about the switch? To bring it, did they?
Switch.
When we switched
From
dates?
Tuesday to Thursday.
Fine with the new date.
We didn't have a problem? Okay.
So do we actually need them, or do we have questions that we're trying to answer, or?
Yeah, I guess that, so in my opinion, that would be up to the board. This is an entity that has come before the board before and a provider that has come before the board before. And our understanding is they're doing the same thing that the board has already been presented with. You were not on the board, so you may have questions, in which case we may need to put it off for another meeting.
And I did see a bunch of referrals come back from different departments, which I didn't see anything there that stood out that was alarming. I think everyone's pretty much all covered those bases.
And the last time they did this event, this type of event, it was both successful and unproblematic.
And they know about some of the concerns that I've read about parking and different things. So I mean, I'm all right with that as long as they follow whatever the policies that are set up for that.
If I may,
You may.
the last time we did have two events that were held at the same place last week. The only thing that I question is that there does need, in my mind, there should be an area that's roped off, and we should have some sort of a map or something to say that they cordoned off, to say that they had a controlled area that they were doing this.
The liquor in it.
Yes.
Yes.
It is going to be on the outside, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And last year they did have it cordoned off with cones, and they had signs, and it was something that this organization took care of, to my knowledge.
Yes.
I just would like to have something in writing to see that that's indeed what they're doing. Paperwork, sure. If we had any questions, we can say yes. Preliminarily, though, I don't have any issues with it. So if they can provide us just where the service area that they're gonna do, so, and how they're gonna keep that in a cordoned off area, then I don't have a problem with doing this.
Yeah, as long as they're gonna have an, stop the people are wandering out onto the common. So,
Sure.
yeah, I'm good with that.
Sure. So the board, it's certainly within your purview to pass it with that condition. That they, prior to the event, they provide a schematic of how they're gonna rope it off, and a descriptive narrative of how they're gonna do it.
I think the company did a great job before. We had no issues with it, and I have no problems with it. So, I'll entertain a motion to approve the liquor license for, July 13th, between the hours of 5 and 8 PM, for an event called Summer Nights Market. And for October 28th, between 10 and 3 PM for a spooktacular small shop event. You knew I was gonna say that, didn't you? Let's see, for Tavern 13, proprietor of Amanda Morse.
So we moved on both.
Okay. And I'll second that. Any discussion, Teresa? Any discussion, Joe?
No, I'm good. As long as before they actually get them licenses in hand, we have something on file.
Okay.
Just to put that in.
We'll ask.
Okay,
I'll ask Sabrina to reach out to them to see if they can provide that.
okay. So all those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes?
That's Sexton Duranian, yes?
Are we gonna sign them out of session?
I see Wyatt is on here. Wyatt, hi, I know that you're, also, with Tavern 13. Are you there, Wyatt?
You're muted.
Okay, I'm here. I apologize for being late. The tremendous rain had me in a traffic jam getting home. I had to go pick up my dog, blah, blah, blah. But I'm here now, so I apologize.
Not a problem, sir. The board, does not have, any issue with these two, but what we would like to see, before we issue the license, the temporary license, is, the last time that we allowed you guys to do this, you gave us a map of what the cordoned off area looks like.
Yep.
And we told if you could draw us up a map, so that we could put them with both of these, so if there's questions in the future on how it was, we have some sort of documentation to show where the area that you sold and that it was a contained area.
Yeah, we can do that for sure. So I'll get that drawn up and we'll just email it over.
Super, okay. So all those in favor?
Boshank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. And Teresa,
Still,
you're on mute.
Teresa A. Morse, yes.
That was unanimous. Thank you, Wyatt.
Okay, thank you very much. I apologize again for being a little late and I'll get that over to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Moving right along. We are 4.3, discuss solar at the landfill. How would you like to?
If it pleases the chair, I can give a narrative as to kind of what has happened thus far.
Okay.
So a couple of weeks ago, I was approached via phone by a company that had already met with the Board of Health regarding the potential solar at the landfill. And the Board of Health referred them to the town administrator's office. So I had a meeting with them here a couple of weeks ago where they are interested and believe that there is, financially viable to, potentially put approximately, 5 gigawatts or whatever. One of the 5 kilowatts of solar is ground mounted solar at the landfill. The reason why it has not been viable thus far is because of the lack of 3-phase power from 119 up the road
To that area.
But they believe that there is infrastructure money that they can help the town tap into, infrastructure grants that would do that electrical work, and or a public-private partnership to do that electrical work. And then we would have the ability to put solar on there, where we as a town would be the landlord for the solar company.
Okay, so the array itself, which will be on town land, is contingent upon granting to get funding for getting 3-phase power up to that area.
Or some other method of non-town funds to get 3-phase power up to that area.
Okay, so I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Sure. And so this company indicated that they would be the ones who would prepare the applications for any kind of grant things that we would just have to review and sign. And they would be the ones who would be seeking out, opportunities. There's also a possibility that if they could enter into an agreement with a large energy user to have that power directed specifically to that user at a rate much lower than that user is obviously is paying for Unitel's power, then that agreement might include some funding to get that 3-phase power up there.
Okay.
From the private party, with the understanding that they're going to get the energy at a It's all gonna be theirs. They have, first dibs at this.
So what's in it for the town of Townsend?
So that's the key is what is in it for the town?
What are we getting out of it?
Yeah, so, the benefit to the town is the, income from the lease. They suggested that, they generally go out to look for, when they're bidding out these jobs to interested companies, production companies, that they get, 17,000 to 20,000 per kilowatt. So a 5 kilowatt would bring, almost $100,000. They said the last time they did one, which was in April recently, they got 35,000 per kilowatt for a 5 kilowatt, which would bring it on, 150,000.
But how do we know what we're gonna sign into? Are they gonna give us a number before?
Well, no, because they're not the company that does it. So what they would do would investigate it to get the infrastructure in first and see if there's any potential for them to have a corporate partner that would be interested in that amount of power, or if there are grants, and then put it out to bid for companies. We obviously we're it's the Board of Selectmen would have to get authorization from the town meeting to enter into, a long-term lease like that. But it would be under our control as to whether or not the town wanted to enter into that lease based on the amount of the bids. That being said, even at the low end, where you're talking about $80,000 a year, that's $80,000 a year that's of income that the town wouldn't currently have.
Because it's just sitting there empty anyway.
Yeah, because it's over 25 years. So if you look at that, 80,000 over 25 years,
Chunk of money.
It is.
that's,
So my big, not concern, but I want to make sure that we phase this in the right way so that we are the best use of time and money. And, I also, I want to add that, I know that the Board of Health had some, concerns about not being part of the conversation, and I believe that we all should be in collaboration for it. This is on town property, and yes, I know that the Board of Health would be, part of the conversations. So my goal is to kind of look to see, let's do the preliminary in regards to getting three-phase up there, forming a partnership with somebody or a corporation or a company that wants to be able to help us with that particular thing. Once we have an idea of where that's going, I would like to be able to then maybe bring in a joint meeting with the Board of Health and just collaborate with them to see what they see or what they want to, what they feel their piece is, just to make sure that we're all on the same page.
And the company that came and presented it did want to present to they were scheduled to be here on Tuesday. They couldn't make it today. They had a conflict, but they do want to come in and present to the board. They suggested the first meeting in July. If that's amenable to the board, we could put them on the agenda and they could come in and present it. They would want us to sign an agreement with them. It wouldn't be a financial agreement because we wouldn't be paying them any money, but they would be our agents for purposes of getting the three-phase power and then doing the bid. And that would allow them to kind of get a justification for them to start spending time and money
Right.
on that part.
And then I would also want to reach out just to the Board of Health so that they know what's going on, so that they're a part of the discussion, so that there's, everybody is on the same page.
Sure. And if we set it up for the first meeting of the 13th, we could certainly invite the members of the Board of Health to be here. I don't think we'd had, probably need to be a joint meeting if multiple of them are here.
Yep.
But we could certainly, invite them to
that would
come
be
and
best, just
be here when the company
Yeah,
presents itself.
because they should have a voice at the table, I believe.
Yeah, so that would be, it might have been, if they would have been able to be here today, we might be wanting to move a little bit further, but I think we'll just put it on to the first board if they're okay with it.
I agree, yeah, so we can put it on.
In July and hopefully have them here and explain it in better detail.
You okay with that?
Perfect, no
Okay.
problem. Sounds good.
Teresa, you okay with that?
Yes, that's fine with me.
4 4.5, discuss an appointment of BOS representative to the MJTC. And that's what this is, right?
Yes, that's just a form, so we can fill out. We can do that filling out. You don't need to fill it out tonight. We can fill it out if the board decides they want it to be.
So the current representative was Veronica. And then I saw my name on here for the Board of Selectmen. So is it, Beth is the current member, right?
Yes, that is the planning board member.
So if the board is amenable to it, we're going to replace Veronica with myself for MJTC.
Oh, I'm good with that.
I'm okay with that.
That was,
So be it.
that was, yeah, it was like, so moved, real quick.
So moved.
Second, Teresa was, yes.
All those in favor?
No shame, yes.
Teresa was, yes.
1.5 miles. Take exit 57, I-93 south toward Boston.
Thanks, Chaz.
Now that we've cleared that up.
We'll make sure to get that into the MJTC so they have the official
Yes.
contact
please.
info and everything.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things that need to be discussed, and I'll touch base with Beth to let her know that I'll be joining her.
Okay.
4.6, discuss Kids Country Playground fundraiser proposal. We have an email from Amy Harrington. It says, good afternoon. At our first meeting, we spoke about hosting a fall food fest as a kickoff to our fundraising for a new playground. Roger Reposer, Superintendent of Cemetery and Parks Department, attended. The plan is to have food trucks, entertainment, games, fall activities, and possibly crafters and vendors. We're hoping to host this on the town common as it would be a great location, easily seen by passerbys. The idea of closing down using Brookline Street from the corner of Honeyland Farms to the end of the common was proposed for food truck parking as they would take up a large amount of space. Could you please place this request on an upcoming agenda to be reviewed by the Board of Selectmen? And that, this is Amy, you're Amy? Come on up, have a seat up in the front row. So what are you looking for from us?
Roger was at our first meeting, so he kind of said that it would be up to you guys if we would be able to get that part of Brookline Street closed. So that's really what the proposal is being able to close it from Honeyland to the end of the common.
Right, so that would just be a street closing thing that we would need to vote on, so.
Yeah, and you could vote on it now, and that would be, allow them to use that street for that.
Do they have a date? They don't have a date yet, do
I
you?
sent a follow-up email to that because I forgot to put the date in. September 30th would be from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. with the potential rain date of the Sunday, which is October 1st, same time.
And what were the times again?
Go ahead, Teresa.
And how, is the money gonna be raised? Are you charging like per truck a fee or per crafter a fee for the table? Is that the plan?
Yeah, we would plan to charge the food trucks $100 per truck
Okay.
to set. So we would kind of invite as many as possible, get a good mix. I had gotten 2 food trucks for the haunted trail, and that went over well.
That went over real well over there.
I was kind of thinking that doing that is kind of an easier way for us to make money.
Yeah.
They get to set up, and then if I get enough help to do vendors and crafters, we would also charge them a fee, probably $30. And I think that would be most of the money that we'd be making would be from that.
Now, is there, what's the,
Chaz, the only thing I want to question is, do we also have to bring in the Board of Health to just double check that, you know, the food trucks have the proper, and anybody serving food in the crafts or food on the thing have their proper licenses?
that too.
So I did reach out to the Board of Health already, and I already got a full list of all the food truck vendors that are covered by the Mishawaka Board of Health. So I would be inviting those trucks, but if there's any trucks that aren't covered, I know they could get like a 1-day license. Just gonna question there.
Perfect. Thank you.
You read it? Okay. And again, is whatever the policy is for.
So Roger, I guess, is in charge of booking out the common, and he said that he would write that in as a potential date for us. He didn't have anything scheduled for that date, so.
We go to the Cemetery and Parks Committee for reviews of that space and.
So I don't have any issues with
I
it.
have no issue whatsoever. Good luck and hope it works well.
Teresa,
Yeah.
do you have any issues? Any other issues?
No, other than I can't get off mute, I have no issues. I'm good.
That's a luxury problem, Teresa.
So try to get the Cookie Monster truck.
Oh, it's so good. I love that.
You ever seen that one?
Yes.
Super good.
It's like
I like the lobster truck. That's my favorite, the lobster roll truck.
lobster and Cookie Monster truck right next to
I'll
each
put in
other.
a special request.
Yeah.
Continue on I-93
I have the best, lobster bisque.
So I will entertain a motion to, allow a road closing for the Brookline Street that borders the town common on September 30th, 2023, between the hours of 11 a.m. and 4 p.m.
So we move.
So moved. Second,
Any further
Should have
discussion?
put the rain date in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
for the rain date, and also
Okay.
maybe we would need to close like an hour before the event to get the trucks parked.
So at 10 a.m.?
Yeah, if that
Okay.
would be all right.
So I'll amend the motion to
Sorry.
10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and to add a rain date of October 1st, 2023.
So we move.
Any further discussion?
second,
All those in favor?
Lieutenant, yes.
Teresa A. Morse, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. You
Thank
are all
you.
set.
Thank you so much.
So thank you.
Good luck. We hope it's huge.
Yeah,
Thank you, me too.
right. 4.7, review and approve surplus request from town clerk. This one, I believe, is the outdated voting booths.
Yeah.
These are surplus of old metal voting booths. And, I'll entertain a motion to approve the surplus request from the town clerk for the old metal voting booth.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Not from me. All those in favor?
So Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes?
Teresa A. Morse, yes.
Eight, review, approve revolving fund overages. So. Well, if I could make this very brief. So there are two revolving funds in town, Board of Health and one for the rec department that are set up at certain amounts. I believe the rec department is $50,000 and the Board of Health is $20,000. And they've exceeded that amount of spending during the year. They have brought in enough money to do that spending, but the caps that we set at town meeting are caps for total spending for the year, regardless of revenue. So all that the Board of Selectmen needs to do is approve, I would suggest just approving an extra $10,000 in each of those. That's more than sufficient to cover the overages. And then it's too late for us to fix that for FY24 because we've already voted on those revolving funds. But for FY25, we'll probably just put in higher limits for those revolving funds because they're bringing in more money and doing more things with it.
Yeah.
The reason why rec is over is because they had to hire more kids because the summer rec program was doing so well.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing for the town. We just have to adjust it during town meetings so that we
Yeah.
have the right amounts.
And it's their own funds that they're
Yeah,
bringing.
Yeah, they're not
in.
taking it from, it's not coming from the general fund or anything, it's coming from
Okay.
their own fund.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve, increasing revolving fund, overages for both the rec department, and the Board of Health for $10,000 each.
So be moved.
I'll second that.
I think Teresa's frozen.
I think so too. There she is. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Lisa Amos, yes.
Yeah, let's have a talk about the budget. Okay, we're skipping over 4.9. 4.10, discuss and approve Conservation Commission fee schedule. I actually have been watching the scheduled meetings or the meetings that they've had, and the fee schedule accordingly. There's been a great deal of discussion, and I will say that they're doing a great job over there getting things in line. I personally don't have any issues with what goes in here. Do either of you two have anything? Teresa, do you have any questions in regards to the fee changes that they have?
I'm upset.
And I'll entertain a motion to approve the Conservation Commission fee schedule. Motion's been made. Do I have a second? Get second. Get second your own motion. I'll second that. Any further discussion?
Teresa, nope, I'm good.
Almost done, almost there.
We need a new owl, and your owl keeps going in and out.
It's on its way.
Yeah, this one's dying. We
Yeah.
gotta get a new one.
Yeah, this is on, we have a new one coming with a new owl bar, and by the time, the next couple of meetings, there'll be a lot of changes in here,
Yeah,
so.
fancy.
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Lisa Amos, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. Okay. 4.11, discuss and approve the 268A, section 20, subsection D, disclosures for Joe Shank.
Mr. Shank is gonna need to recuse himself.
Yes,
I recuse myself.
okay. Do you want to talk about these?
Yeah, sure. No, as I'm sure both you and Teresa know, Mr. Shank has a business in town. That business has had in the past and still currently has contracts and does business with different departments in the town. And as such, Joe is required to file these disclosures as a part of his being elected to the Board of Selectmen. This is the requirements of the State Ethics Commission. All Board of Selectmen members in towns with less than 10,000 people are automatically deemed special municipal employees. So as a special municipal employee, he needs to get approval from the Board of Selectmen, notwithstanding for these disclosures to matter. So the board would need to vote to accept these disclosures.
So I will say, just for a matter of record, is that he's currently not under contract with the Townsend PD. They are on a on-call rotation with another company and can be removed at any time per the Townsend Police Chief.
Yes.
just to get it on record. And this is for your tow contracts, Joe? Oh, you can't answer. Never mind. You're recused.
It is for tow contracts and the repair of municipal vehicles at the auto body shop.
Teresa, you have any questions or comments?
Just, is there a value, dollar amount that you have to disclose at, to fill this, or is it any amount if you even collect $1 from the town?
I think the answer I would tell you is you need to call the State Ethics Commission. But what the State Ethics Commission would probably say is, if you get $1 from the town, you need to call them and ask. And Joe already did that during his last stint as a select person, and so this is the same thing that he's being required to do this during this tenure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so this is really an approval according to disclosure under General Law, Chapter 268A, subsection 20D, from a special municipal employee who seeks to have a financial interest in a contract made by a municipal agency of this city or town. So it's basically saying that he is disclosing not only to the Board of Selectmen, but to the state in regards to what he's done. He did this before in his last, when he was selectman last time.
So once if and when the board approves them, we will take them down to the clerk's office. Everybody will Joe's gonna get copies. We're gonna keep copies in the Board of Selectmen's office, and we're gonna give them to the official files down in the clerk's office, where she will keep them on file for minutes. The public is allowed to come and review those if they wish.
Is it a motion to accept them, or is it we just verbally accept?
You need to make a motion to accept them.
Correct.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the disclosures that Joe Shank has presented to the selectmen.
And I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Teresa Ann Moss, yes?
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yeah. And Teresa, I'll sign these, okay?
That would be fine.
Yes.
That's it. Once they're signed, we'll get them filed appropriately, and that will be that.
Okay, work session, 5.0 ARPA projects. I was going to, ask previously, but I didn't have time. We used to get reports or that sheet. Do we get that from Katie, or how does that work?
Are you not getting the monthly reports? If you're not, I'll make sure that Katie puts you all on the list.
Yeah.
Because she sent one out earlier this week.
Okay.
Everybody.
I may have gotten it. I'll have to look again.
I'll make sure that all this.
I also know that, if you could, contact, Roger in regards to, the funding, any additional funding that we have for the gazebo.
Yeah.
I know that I showed pictures to Joe earlier. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. It looks really nice. Doing a great job. But
I was out there with Todd the other day.
yeah,
Earlier this week.
the question, and Joe, I'm throwing this out towards your direction. There has been in the past a temporary structure that was on the back to extend so that the band can have additional members. What I'm trying to help Parks and Cemetery find a temporary structure like a scissor lift or
Mr. Chair, Roger and I actually found one.
you did good.
Yeah, we did. I did some online digging.
Okay.
And then Roger put out and requested a specific quote from a company.
Okay.
It is a 12 by 8 adjustable height staging
Yes.
that could be put adjacent to the bandstand. So he got a specific quote from them on the specific type that he thought was best.
Yeah.
So I have that quote. We are trying to see how much money we're gonna have left over from that $10,000. The free, of ARPA. We
Yes.
voted ARPA money,
ARPA
$10,000
money, yeah.
ARPA money.
Yeah.
To go towards the bandstand. To see if there was gonna be enough to cover it, or at least make a payment on it, and get that delivered, but I think it's gonna be exactly what we're looking for, then it goes down and folds up, and you can put it away.
And Roger said that he could take care of that.
And Rod, yeah, and then, so I sent the link over to Roger, and he did more investigation into it, and it seems like a really good resolution.
Yeah.
Roger also found a trust fund for concerts, and we're checking with Katie to see if we could use some of that money for this. I didn't know it existed. It's a trust fund that apparently there was in the cemetery department. All right, I'm assuming it's the parks portion of the cemetery department, not the cemetery department,
Right.
For concerts. So if we are allowed to use that money, then we're just gonna go ahead and order it. And then,
Good, okay.
So it probably won't be here for the first one, which is on the 15th,
Right.
but hopefully we'll get it here as soon as possible.
For the 4th of July, I'm hoping.
Yeah, oh yeah, that would be the hope, we could get one here.
That would be
ASAP.
excellent.
Yeah.
And kind of, sort of, was there an issue with bunting over there?
I think the issue with the bunting
It
here.
was here, okay.
So when the facilities went to put the bunting up, a bunch of it was torn and tattered, so they put in an order. It didn't arrive before Memorial Day,
Okay.
but it's here now with the new POW flag. We can put it up at any time. I think we're probably gonna wait until closer to 4th of July to
Put it up.
up, but it's
Good.
all new and it
Nice.
should look
Okay.
really nice. If I could,
Yeah.
I actually do have one other kind of proposed ARPA project to bring up to the board, which is this. I think, all the board members know how much use the town and quite frankly, the region gets out of the library and the Council on Aging building. The new, expansion, into the Council on Aging has been totally maxed out. I mean, they use it all the time. Unfortunately, the facilities department's one overnight cleaner is struggling to keep that building as clean as it needs to be, given the fact that there's food there and it's lots of heavy traffic. So I wanted to kind of see how the board would feel about trying to create another, use some ARPA funds, probably about $15,000 for 1 year to try to hire a during the day cleaner just for that building. It would be a person who would be on site during the day when there's the spills and the messes and the clogged toilets and the things like that for a few hours each day. That would be tasked with the kind of things that Paul doesn't have the time to do because he's, one part-time employee with all of the damn buildings.
Right.
Which are, deep clean the carpets, do the windows, deep clean the kitchen, mop all the floors. Paul has the time to do kind of take out the trash and do some rudimentary cleaning of the bathrooms. But beyond that, the building is kind of exceeded facilities' ability to keep up with it. So this is just I just wanted to kind of take the temperature of the board to see how you would feel about hiring someone. I talked to both Stacy and Karen about it, and this is the proposal that they came up with. I asked them if they could figure out how much it would cost to have a professional company come in and clean, and when that number was huge, I said, well, what if we just had a person? And we kind of all talked about it and said, if you can have a person come in 3 hours, do mom's hour, work mom's hours, where you're 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, during the time when the building is open and in most likely need of kind of those emergency services, but also able to kind of schedule regular mopping and regular cleaning the kitchen.
So if we did that, you say for this time, just use ARPA funds, but then the next
We'd have to
budget
roll it
cycle,
into
we
the
have to
budget
roll it into the budget?
Still hiring somebody again new, right?
Yeah. So it'd be a part-time person for
Part-time.
15,000,
Yeah.
not benefited, it would be a benefited job. It would just be somebody who's working.
So who's taking care of that now?
So it falls within the purview of facilities, but facilities has one part-time janitor. You know, Eno is not, Rob and Eno are not, their job descriptions aren't janitorial, even though they do it,
Yeah.
a lot. But Paul, who's the overnight janitor, is the person who's supposed to be doing the vacuuming and doing the cleaning the bathrooms and taking out all the trash, and that's in his job description. And in a
That he
building
does
like-
it here.
he does it here, he does it at the police department, he does it at the council on aging, he does it at the highway, he does it at the cemetery, he does it at all the buildings. But, it's not the same in a building where there's, council on aging gets more people a day than, town hall by a bunch, and they serve food. So like the time it takes to clean that building is significant.
Don't we have somebody that we hire, and I don't know if it's under ARPA funds or not, that we hired just for elections already? Isn't that somebody that we have? Like for
No,
extra cleaning during election time?
No, we had
But maybe
someone,
that's,
we had someone who we hired for COVID cleaning.
okay. Okay, maybe that's somebody we could use, that's what I'm thinking. Okay.
Yeah, and so, I'm just telling, like, I just wanted to kind of take the tenor of the board before I came with a proposal and kind of a job description. I wanted to see if that was something that the board was willing to
I would support.
willing to entertain.
I think that, yes, they do. I think they need somebody just dedicated for that area.
I do too.
I
It's a big
agree.
area.
It's a big area, but they do a lot for the town. And
Yeah.
I think it would be best to be, even though they are facilities, they can work directly with both Karen and Stacy.
That would be my anticipation. I mean, so that would, I think it would be good for the town because that building gets so much use. I mean, between the library and the senior center, they see hundreds of people, and the being able to have, everything cleaned, especially again with the food.
Should be kept.
We've
clean and
been
updated,
lucky enough to be given this
The building,
beautiful building.
all these buildings.
We need to kind of step up and spend a little bit of money to kind of keep them clean. And so as long as, if that's okay with the board, my proposal would be, I'll come back on the 20th with a job description and a allocation form for ARPA for the board to vote on the 20th, and we can try to get somebody to start close to the beginning of the fiscal year.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. You're okay with that, Teresa? I think she said sure.
I think she said.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay. So that was all I had about it.
Okay. 5.1, town administrator updates and reports.
Okay. So we have had a lot going on since last we met.
Yes, we have.
Um,
More than I really wanted to have going on.
yes, more than we all wanted to have going on. Number one, I first wanted to give the board officially some sad news, which is that Eric Chartrand, our building inspector, has given his notice. So he is moving on to Westminster. We wish him luck. It's a shame to lose a quality employee like Eric. We're going to be looking real hard to try to find somebody to be able to come in and do the kind of job he's done. So, but I do want to let the board know that we did post it as soon as possible, because I know that that's a really competitive kind of market right now for building inspectors, and the sooner we get it out there, get through the process and get it out, the sooner we'll be able to hopefully get somebody on board. So we started that, and I'll keep the board apprised of that process as it goes forward. The second is, I don't know how much the board worked with her, but Laurie Delolio, who is our accountant, our vendor, who worked for Melanson and then worked for Markham. She also gave her notice, so she is no longer working for Markham or working for Markham. Which is a shame. Laurie's been great. She knew a lot of the local towns and was really easily accessible. We still have Elizabeth, who's been working really closely with Laurie and Katie and Markham. Quite frankly, this makes me so glad that the board approved the plan to get Katie going, because she has had these months to be trained specifically by Laurie. And so she's, moving into the role where she's gonna be taking over a lot of things that Laurie was doing for us. But it is a shame because Laurie's a really great person and really knowledgeable. And so we don't know exactly how it's gonna shake out with someone assigned to be in the buildings. I've been playing phone tag with Markham for a couple of days trying to figure that out. So
I'm happy that we have the cash reconciled as quickly as we have it now. That's a very good thing to see.
I mean, I give Laurie a ton of credit for whipping the financial, with working with Melissa and now working with Katie to kind of whip us into financial shape so the books are where they are. Because I think that we're now in a position where, as long as we can have someone kind of maintain it, we're not having to do the kind of catch up that we were doing last fiscal year.
2 years.
Well, probably more than that. So those are kind of downer things. The next thing is a little bit more positive, which is we got notification, and Joe, I'm not sure how much you kept track. We signed up with a company to kind of proceed with putting solar canopies at the police station and at the library. And so we got some surprising news from them today, which is that Unitil has already signed off on the proposal way faster than I think anybody thought Unitil was going to sign things off.
Going to be another year.
Yeah, we thought we were going to be challenged to get it signed off by fall town meeting.
Yeah.
They apparently are now realizing they might possibly be able to get in an extra building season and get these things up and running earlier. So the message I had from the solar canopy company was, how much does it cost to put on a special town meeting? Because I think they want to try to see if we can get this voted before the fall so they can try to make some headway on the solar canopies. And the sooner we get them up, the sooner we're paying less for power, which is, I think the goal. So that's more of an update. There's no votes that need to be taken at this point in time. I will keep the board apprised as we go forward with that. I think it's just really good news.
Yeah, that's great news. We just need to come up with a price, and if we want to move forward with that.
Yeah.
Right.
As part of that, I do need a couple of votes. One is, I do need a vote to authorize the town administrator to apply for a net metering public ID. Because that's something we need to do to have the solar canopies up, is we need to have a net metering ID. So that would be a vote that I would be requesting from the board to authorize me to apply for it. Half the towns in Massachusetts already have one. We just don't, because we haven't had a project that required us to apply for one yet. And it's not a cost. It's just a process.
You want to take these votes one at a time? I make a motion that we vote the town administrator to get the net meter and
Public ID.
public ID.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Go Shank, yeah.
Teresa, 12.
Teresa and Marcia.
South for Napontet, please.
And then the second one is to authorize me to sign an agreement with Unitel regarding the campus. Which is, it's the standard agreement, because we have to have an agreement specifically with Unitel about the way that the energy is going to flow, because it's on town.
I make a motion that you sign a agreement with Unitil.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
No?
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Teresa Marsh, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Okay, the next two, okay, so the next one is, it's something I would be requesting a vote from the board on as well. So, we have, an employee of the library, full-time employee Bradley, who came in as the teen librarian. He's doing a really great job. He was hired back in December. Because the library is not unionized, they go into the personnel policies, which indicate that you get a week of vacation after you've been a full-time employee for 6 months. So unfortunately, his 6 months drops in the middle of June. And the personnel policy says if you don't use your week of vacation by the end of June, you're gonna lose it. Well, he doesn't, it's not possible for him to use that week of vacation by the end of June.
So he has 15 days to use it.
Whoops.
So,
So you're asking us to amend it?
I mean, no, right now, we are gonna eventually ask to amend it. What I'd like to do now is just authorize us to for Bradley Sherwood in the library to allow him to roll over a 1 week of vacation because it dropped so close to the day when he would lose it.
Make a motion to allow Bradley to roll over 1 week vacation.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
No.
We're gonna try to tweak it so that it works a little bit more rationally.
Yeah.
And if we go to a kind of accrued vacation with everybody, I think allowing a more lenient rollover policy won't have the kind of negative impacts it does right now. We're getting it done.
So you're gonna, we can't talk yet.
I know, but
Okay.
you can tell me what the,
Right now, we're not at that stage. We're not ready to kind of have an amendment in front of the board. I think so. We're just gonna have to take it on a case by case basis.
Yeah, and that accrued is something that we've been looking to
Yes.
move for anyway. Well, we talked about it when we were on the board. Yeah. So all those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton
Teresa
Duranian,
Marsh, yes.
yes.
Teresa Marsh, yes.
Thank you, Teresa.
And the last one is so the last one before we went on the agenda, the pest control contract. So we had a very productive meeting with the pest control company this morning in facilities. Joe attended along with myself. We discussed we discussed how the issues that arisen with the contract were going to be resolved. I think we came to kind of an amicable resolution to any issues that were kind of outstanding. More importantly, we discussed a couple of things that we wanted to have added into the contract. So the contract omitted being responsible for the bait traps around the rec center and being responsible for any kind of pest control over at the garage. So the pest control company was more than willing to send us over an amended contract, and I would basically just be looking for the approval of the board of selectmen to enter into that contract with the amendments. So to add those two.
Can you make a motion that we allow the town administrator to sign into the contract for pest control?
Motion's been made. I'll second that. Any further discussion? So we incorporated all of the issues that we talked about before, and I'm happy. Thank you very much, Joe, for taking care of that.
Yeah, it went very good.
Good. Okay,
Yeah, so it was a positive, like I said, it was a very positive meeting.
good.
So I will,
Let's take a vote.
oh, I'm
first.
sorry.
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. And I don't see Teresa on.
Yeah, I think she might be having a.
Okay, so we'll go with that.
So the last thing on, I apologize. So there's two things on, two remaining things. The first is the Spalding lease, which we had taken off for a vote, but which, we have some language that has been proposed by the school department. I don't think the language that they added is significant in any way. But I just wanted to share it with the board before sending it back with some changes. So they added that the lessor and the lessee agree to discuss in good faith reasonable restrictions on public access to Fesden Field during school hours. And that we agree that no banners, signs, or other items should be placed on the barrier that is located between Fesden Field and the westerly boundary of the premises that would interfere or block a clear view of the field from the school. So,
Did they,
and this
there isn't
came,
anything now, is
there
there?
isn't anything now. So this came out of a very productive meeting that we had between the school department, myself, and the Little League. And so the Little League is planning a revamping of the entire field such that the home plates, and bases for all the fields will be in the center of the field facing outward towards the streets. So it'll be 3 fields instead of the 2 that are there now. And they'll all be kind of like 3 leaves of a 4-leaf clover. And then the playground is going to be where the 4th clover is. And they're all going to be surrounded by fencing. So the request would be, during the school hours, the school still wants to have access to the fields, which is perfectly fine. But that we not put any banners on the outfield fence that faces the school, so that the teachers are in the parking lot, they can still see what's happening in those fields. It's a perfectly reasonable request
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
safety, and so I didn't think anybody would have any concerns about it. So but I did want to share those specifics with you, that we would do our best to make sure that those fields are putting up some of the signs that are already out there, quite frankly, that says no public access during school hours. We would maintain those signs.
Right, and they need visibility from the school.
Yeah.
For
See any kids in there or anything, oh, yeah.
well, during the day, at any point, so I don't have any issues with that.
Okay, so as long as the board.
And the league is part of that discussion, so.
The league was fine with that. They still gave them, fences that they could use for advertising, which is where they bring a lot of their revenue. So the league president was 100% on board with that as well.
Okay.
So I will send back our draft. They did cut out the summer program language from the draft, so I'm putting it back in and sending it back.
Oh, they did they?
They did. So I'm gonna send that back, and they mentioned something about their attorney, so I may need to have a conversation with their attorney about it, just
About that language?
about that specific language.
Okay, yeah, definitely put it back in.
Yeah, so I know the board wanted it, so it's going back in when I send the language back to them, so I will do that ASAP. And then the last thing is discuss the bylaw review committee. I brought this up with the chair when we were talking about the agenda here. There is in the charter, there is a clause that says every 5 years, on years that ends with 3 and 8, the town shall set up a bylaw review committee to look after bylaws, to review the bylaws and bring proposed changes to the Board of Selectmen, and then on to town meeting. So I think that practice, as is in the charter, is probably a good one, to have people kind of sit down and look at the bylaws. My suggestion would be that we, and I think I made this to Chaz when we were talking about it, that we break it up into both, so we have the zoning bylaw as one section, and the rest of the general bylaws as another, and we send the zoning bylaw for review by the planning board and the zoning board, so they can review it and see if they think there needs to be any changes.
Sprinkle holy water on it.
Yeah, lighting bylaw, whatever's in there.
And then we have a separate committee set up to look at the general bylaws.
And that's the one that we're talking about how we're gonna bring that up.
Yeah, and so, I think there's a lot of talented folks in town, and so we just need to kind of draft the right people, I think, to, I get somebody from, I think we talked about getting somebody from the Energy Committee, somebody from Concom, to, one or more staff members to help look at our general bylaws and see, how they shape up.
So, I know we're talking about this may be off the subject a little bit. Speaking of committees, we had that charter committee and the charter's all done and approved. Has that ever gotten out of the state? Have we got? So where does that stand?
So
It's still there.
it's still at the state. So we suffered from the lack of having a state rep for a while.
Yeah,
That gap, I think, was not helpful in the movement of the charter. But when Margaret Scarsdale got sworn in, the first thing that I think the former chair said to her was, we got to get our charter through. So Margaret knows that it's waiting for it. And so I've talked about Margaret Scarsdale and Senator Cronin's office to let them both know that this charter's been kind of pining
yeah.
for a couple of years.
They got to bring it forward. It's a
Yeah.
formal process, but they just need to
Maybe
bring
we
it
ought to
forward and they vote.
Have select people individually just say, what are you doing?
Certainly worth, calling, but
I had a conversation with Representative Scarsdale last week and I voiced my opinion on it. So I know that she is helping us out with some other things.
Yeah.
We also had, along with that, DHCD, I can say is formerly known as DHCD.
It's EOHLP or
So
something.
it changed names, but it also, the new governor has changed the role and the mission of that particular organization. I have been helping an individual in town get their affordable accessory apartment on the affordable list. But we're kind of bogged down now because we have to find out who our people in the new office is going to be doing the function that I need to do. And I wanted to officially put this on record because I didn't want the individuals with the application thinking I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do.
Sure.
But I'm waiting for, I've reached out to Representative Scarsdale's office and we are working with trying to find out who we need to talk to get the signatures that we need to get. I'll need yours. I'll need the town council signature on the application.
Yeah.
To be able to then move forward to bring it to this new place that we don't know who is going to get the application or how the process is or whatever.
Always red tape.
But that's
That's
when
where
there's,
that is.
well, when there's a change like
Yes,
that.
it throws everything into a tailspin for a little bit.
I don't even think they have letterhead for the new entity yet.
It certainly is not, doesn't roll off the tongue like DHCD does.
No.
With respect to the bylaw review committee, I would like to, if the board's okay, if the board is willing to kind of formally pass the zoning stuff off to the ZBA and the planning board for their kind of review, then I think we should maybe vote on the 20th for a specific kind of set of people for the
When's your
general
next,
bylaw.
department head meeting?
So I had one. It was probably going to be, some mid-July.
So can we get an email out to all boards and committee chairs and to department heads here asking for volunteers?
Sure.
For what we're proposing to do for the bylaw review committee. I don't think they formally have to fill out a volunteer form or anything.
Yeah.
Just the interest. And we'll see any interested parties will then, go from there.
Okay, sounds good. We'll do that. Perfect. And that is, I apologize for taking so long. That is
Don't forget that.
it for me.
5.2, reports from board liaisons. General government. Anything, anyone? Is that me? Am I general government? No,
think you're elected.
I'm elected.
That's me, basically. I had nothing since the, last meeting, so. There was, one meeting, but they weren't able to get together, so.
Okay. Elected boards, I had sent out a email to, the new revised liaison list, to let the change, the different, ones that I've been working with. So that everybody that's on the new assignment list knows that I'll be, assisting with them. Couple of things is, I don't know if anybody saw the gazebo, but that's looking really, really good.
It really is.
I'm very, very happy with the progress there. Todd Arsenal and company, have been doing a fabulous job, out there, and thank him and his helpers. It looks really, really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing that up and shining on July 4th. Yeah, that'll look great.
New bunting, be nice.
Yeah.
It'll be, yeah.
I do also want to thank the flag committee for getting their flags up for the last holiday. That I always think that when those flags are up in town, it just looks so sharp. Everything went well. We had the Memorial Day parade and everything went off very, very well. We had good weather. It just, everything seemed to fall right into place. I want to thank everybody who put that together, and thank the band. They had some bands who marched, and then they had some bands who band members
Some
that
good,
were
some marched,
there.
yeah,
It
you
was
know.
great. I thought that was really well. And it was very well attended as well. I also want to thank those who put wreaths out on the cemetery too. Those looked really sharp as well.
Yeah.
We always need help to put flags and wreaths out there, and it just looked really well. And I thank everybody who did attend, that. I know that we had, my next water meeting is going to be Monday, but we're gonna have to cancel that, because there's a couple of, other things, that, had come up. So we're gonna move that probably in a week. But I did also want to throw out that, there has been some movement with the PFAS, lawsuit. Yeah, that the town has joined into, and we'll discuss that at a later date when we have more details, but it looks like they have come to some sort of agreement or settlement, and monies were talked about to set aside for the fund that they would then in turn be giving to town. So we will be getting funding to go to help us with the cost of the treatment plant.
And I think it's important to mention to folks that this is on, anybody who's following this is on top of the forgiveness that we're already in line to get for the debt for the plant. So that any money that we bring in pays our portion, not the forgiven portion.
Nice. That's really great.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal.
That's huge.
It is, and this is why we did join into that lawsuit, because we needed to supplement the town costs in regards to that. But I want to thank everybody in the water department, Dave, and the commissioners, Todd and Nate. It's been such a great collaborative effort, with my being representing the board on that, with the Board of Water Commissioners. We just seem to be working really well together. If you guys have seen anything where the new places, you'll see Dig Safe has been there, so there's little flags up all over the place.
Trees are down.
Trees are down. I mean, they're doing the work has started. Now, do we have an official date for the, do you know, Sabrina, do you know when the,
We have a ribbon cutting.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know what the date is on that?
The groundbreaking, I believe it was July 14th. But Dave left that. Yeah, I apologize.
Eric,
But
while he's looking for that, I forgot to mention, the Energy Committee did, meet, they're reapplying, or they actually received information, the, continuation of the grant they received for, being a, energy, town, and they prioritize the use of the grant. I can go over if you want, but they presented that to Eric, how they see using the funding. And they listed out, the priorities that they have, how they foresee using those funds. So that was the, how they, what the, agenda was on their last meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
And then I do want to add with the, at the rec department, we are getting the front steps. I don't know if you've seen how that's been taken up. We've had some problems with the cement steps for a while there. That's under repair at this point, so we'll have new steps at the rec center, and we're also replacing the flagpole that's there as well. And the Parks and Cemetery are helping us out with that fix as well. So again, Roger, thank you.
So I apologize. So it's July 11th at 10 a.m. over at the water treatment plant. We'll have the groundbreaking ceremony.
What day is July 10th? I believe it's not Tuesday.
July 11th. Let's double check. July 11th is a Tuesday, yes.
Perfect. So I'll attend. I think we should all probably attend.
I took the.
Yeah, I think everybody's,
Yeah, perfect.
all the board of selectmen obviously are invited, I think along with Sabrina and myself.
So,
Congressman. Yeah, I think the water superintendent is taking care of that, I believe.
Yes.
Senator Cronin, Senator, Representative Scarsdale, so he's taking care of all of that. Public safety.
all right, well, a few things on public safety. So I've met with the police chief and just did a little brief update with him. Everything over there is going really well. He's in the process of, getting some new certification that the state's come for his guys. He's on second round of that. He feels very confident that that will continue. I did speak with the fire chief and I attended a meeting over there just the last week. And I guess first I want to say, I think Mr. Shepherd's done a tremendous job with the morale and the personnel there. When he was done his meeting, I ended up just staying there just to see what the feeling was of his officers and how he was handling things, because he was concerned his a contract is kind of going to come up next year, and he wanted to make sure they all felt that he was doing a good job. And if he wasn't doing a good job, he'd be more than happy to move on. But out of that meeting that I took, every single one of his officers were absolutely hands down. They haven't been any happier. Things have been going perfect. And they pretty much so said, he's got a lot of new equipment coming, and they would love to see him make sure he stays on until all that's done. So it might be a year, 2 years, whatever, but it was really nice to hear that. Prior, when I sat in some of those meetings, there's always some kind of a problem with somebody, but I just want to say thank you to Mr. Shepherd. I also said to every one of those officers, it isn't just one person making that department run the way it is, it's every one of them.
Yeah.
And that's huge. I did speak with also the building department. One of his concerns were they're waiting for a terminal or something for the
Billing
For the-
software, I mean,
For the online.
online permitting. I didn't have an answer for him, so I guess I'll leave that to Eric. I think that'd be a nice thing to get up and running if that's
Oh, yeah.
waiting. I don't know what we're waiting for on that. And then I took over under general government, I took over the conservation. I had been in contact with them. They were very enthusiastic that, somebody will be showing up hopefully. And, so other than that, everything's really good.
good.
All right, excellent.
5.3 announcements and communications. I do not see. I don't have anything in SharePoint, Sabrina. Is there anything?
I didn't have anything.
Not have anything?
No.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session.
Make a motion, we review and sign payroll warrants out of session.
Second,
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Tricia Marsh, yes?
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Skipped over.
Our next meeting will be, yeah, I was trying to look at it. Is it the 20th?
Yes, the 20th, June 20th.
Our next meeting will be June 20th at 6 o'clock. And then, I'll entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to general law, chapter 30A, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and I do declare. Love saying that. And I also will entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to general law, chapter 30A, subsection 21A4, to discuss the deployment of security personnel or devices or strategies with respect thereto,
And adjourn from the
And
executive session.
adjourn.
and adjourn from executive session.
So be moved. So I think we have to say we're
You need a second, no?
adjourning now, right? From
Yes,
this.
we need a second.
No, you adjourn from the executive session.
I thought you had to read them. Read it, no?
You said so moved, so.
He said so moved, so I just need a
Yeah, I
second.
know, I thought that couldn't be done that way. Okay, second,
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Tricia Marsh, yes.